Good evening, Lake Orion. I'm your host, Anthony Taorminas. I am between Coach Kampe.
Hello, Ant.
All right, welcome to Between Taorminas. How we doing, ladies and gentlemen? I'm your host. Anthony's not, just a poser. Just kidding. We have a very special guest today, Mr. Greg Kampe from Oakland University.
Coach.
Mr. Coach Greg Kampe.
Greg Kampe.
Excuse me. Sorry, I didn't know the...
There's a
yeah.
coach on there.
All right, yeah, okay, all right.
Please.
Take it easy, all right?
Oh, boy.
So, we got a lot to talk about today with the coach.
Mm-hmm.
First, we want to hit on the great Oakland University, though. Talk about the basketball program a little bit. And Anthony, I think you wanted to steer this conversation.
Yeah, I'll gladly steer this conversation. Coach, how are you doing today?
Very good. Very happy to be here. Between Ant and Sammy, that's some place to be.
One thing about Oakland that I want to talk about with you, Coach, is Oakland has had a history of being consistently successful. Ever since 2006, 2007, Oakland has had a winning record in each of their seasons. Can you explain the consistency as the hallmark of greatness, that quote, and the consistent programs Oakland has had?
Well, and as you know, being around the program as much as you were, that's the thing we really strive for, that consistency is the hallmark of greatness. It's a quote from years and years ago I made, and somebody picked up on it, and they use it all the time around our program. And what that means is, we want our athletes to be consistent in their lives, just not only as basketball players, but as students, as people, and that. So we really don't want a young man who's going to get us 40 points one night and come back the next and get us 2. We want somebody that's going to give us a consistent effort every night. And to give consistent efforts, you have to give them not only athletically, but you have to give them, personally, you have to give them in the classroom. Just when you get up in the morning, you have to give me that same effort every day. And that's really what we teach and what we strive for. And when you have kids that can do that, then you'll have a consistent program.
Coach, can you explain, you got the Summit League, got to deal with North Dakota State, South Dakota State, Western Illinois, Indiana University, Purdue University, Indianapolis,
IUPUI.
IPFW, Fort Wayne.
My favorite.
And then, of course, yeah, don't go there.
All right, easy.
How would you look at the league as a whole with the Summit League?
Well, the Summit League's really improved in the last decade. It's gone from a very transient league where we lost Valpo years ago, which was the pillar of the league. They had won it quite a bit. And then Oral Roberts and Oakland became arch rivals, and it was either Oakland or Oral Roberts winning the league for many years. Then we brought the Dakotas into the league, North Dakota State and South Dakota State, and they're both in their state. They're the Michigan states of their state. In other words, they are the schools of their state, so they're funded at a very high level. They have a very large alumni, so that they get more people in the stands than, say, in Oakland would get in the stands. Right. They get it, like I said, in those states, they're the Michigan State. So that improved the league when we brought that in because of funding, because of fan support. They have TV packages.
Right.
So both North Dakota State, and South Dakota State, their games are on TV regionally there all the time. So that brings more exposure to the league. And it's interesting because our league, for many years, our league was around the 22nd best league in RPI, which there's 31 leagues, so 22nd in there. Since the Dakotas have gotten in the league, and in the last 4 or 5 years, we've ranged from 16 to 20. We've been hanging in the almost fit to the halfway point. And I see the league continuing to get better because of the money that's being put in the league, and because of the TV and the promotion of the league.
What do you think about the addition of the University of Denver to the Summit League? Denver has had they had a really good season last year, and Denver seems to be a really good basketball team, really good program all around, swimming and.
Well, personally, I don't like it because they play at altitude.
Right.
And that's just a bad deal when you never play at altitude and then you have to go in there and play a game, a mile above sea level. It's a heck of an advantage for Denver. But Joe Scott's built a great program there. Their RPI this year was top 70 much of the season. I think it ended in the high 80s maybe. So you influx that into our league. That's going to bring, if they'd been in our league this year, we ended up the 18th best RPI league. And if they'd been in our league and Kansas City had not been in our league, which is the way it will be next year, we would have been 15th, which would have been right there in the middle of the 31 conferences.
Do you think that playing Southern Utah would help maybe playing a team like Denver, playing in that altitude?
Southern Utah's gone, and we were really happy that they left because of the altitude. And well, you've made the trip. You know how tough that trip is. And it's altitude's a tough thing for kids when they're not used to playing in it. So, no, I don't think it'll help that we did. It's a new group.
Coach, you're notoriously known for your tough non-conference schedule. You had to play teams like Tennessee, Oregon, Michigan State, Kansas, etc. How do you guys prepare for? How do you guys get those games and prepare for those games early on?
Yeah, well, let's talk first about how we get them. That's just a belief that I have, and our players want to play those games, and we recruit to those games. If you come to Oakland, you're going to get to play. Our first 4 next year, we open at North Carolina, then we go to UCLA, then we go to Gonzaga, and then we play Cal.
That's not an easy slate.
No, I mean, we'll probably be 4-0 though, won't we?
At least 3-1.
Yeah. Yeah, UCLA might get us.
Maybe.
So that is what we try and do every year. It helps financially because those teams pay good money for us to come out there and play. It helps exposure because 2 or 3 of those games will be on national TV. Your name's going to be running across the bottom of ESPN those nights.
True.
And then the kids want to play those games. And then when you do win, which we've won some of those games, it brings
Tennessee, Oregon.
Yeah, it brings great exposure to your program. So that's why we do that, and we'll continue to do that for some time.
Last year, you graduated a great leader in Drew Valentine. This year, you have Travis Bader, Ryan Bass, Duke Mundy, and Corey Petros. What do you think about those players? I mean, Travis Bader's, his individual records are very impressive. The 3-point shooting. Obviously, it's with Drew. Drew brought leadership. How do you think this team will handle not having Drew Valentine?
I think it's a big concern in that Travis Bader's a great basketball player, and he's a great person and a great kid and everything you'd want your son to be. But he's not the most vocal leader that we've ever had. He's not a kid that that will grab people and pull them along. And so the leadership on this team will be a big issue for us, which should be a really, really good basketball team. As far as talent goes, I mean, Bader's got to make 101 threes. And he made 139 this year. He made 124 the year before. If he can make 101 or more threes this year, he'll become the all-time leading 3-point shooter in the history of college basketball, not just the conference, in the history of the game. He'll pass J.J. Redick's record from Duke. So, that's going to be a chase. I think we'll get a lot of publicity as he gets closer to that. I think ESPN will pick up on that, and the national media will pick up on that, and the night he makes the 102nd one could be quite a special night.
Coach, last question here, I think, before we go to break. Kind of a curveball for you. I know this year you won your 500th game, which congratulations. What's the biggest thing you've learned from victory 1 as a coach to victory 500?
That's an interesting question. The game's changed over the years, and more importantly, the student athletes have changed. They've changed a great deal, and mostly it's the parents' fault, but they have changed. What you could say and do 30 years ago versus what you can say and do today is a completely different world. One of the biggest things that changed in my coaching was having my own children. That, I would say, more than anything that I've gone through in the 36 years that I've coached college basketball, is what I learned from my kids, because I had my oldest son played baseball at Cincinnati, my middle son is a football player at LSU, and my youngest son is will be a senior next year at Clarkston High School. and they've all played sports, and they've all had great success, and they've all had some bad times too. And seeing the student athlete from the other side of it, from being the parent, has really changed me in how I handle my players, because all of a sudden I get to see what they, I mean, if I tear into you, and I'm only doing it to make you better. I mean, if I were to recruit you, one of the things I would tell you is, my job is to make you the best player you can be. The day you leave Oakland University, you're going to be the best player you can be. And I will never let up on that. Never. And so what I found from seeing my kids is maybe I need to let up some. There are times that maybe it's just too much.
Sure.
And when bad things happen, sometimes when they come home and you look at them, I don't get to see that with my players.
Right.
So just having children and watching them has probably been the most influential thing on my coaching.
Interesting perspective.
I
Very
was
good.
honored to be part of 110 of those 500 wins, Coach.
Oh, yeah, we need you back because I need another 110. Show them your rings.
Oh yes, these are. Get a close-up of my championship rings from 2010 to 2011. Also,
There you
Coach
go.
Kampe was my coach, and if it wasn't for Coach, I don't think we win these championship rings.
Now everybody's going to think that you were like a starting point guard or something.
You had two great ones then, Jonathan Jones and Reggie Hamilton.
Right.
All right. Well, very good. Good discussion. When we come back, Tigers?
Yeah.
Tigers talk? Getting into the Tigers. Stay
Yeah.
tuned.
Stay tuned.
ONTV is proud to bring local government meetings to the community live on Comcast Channel 20 and AT&T UVerse Channel 99. However, if you're unable to watch the meetings on their original broadcast date, you can watch replays on our website at a time that best fits your viewing schedule. Visit OrientOnTV.org and click on the large Meetings on Demand button on the left side of our homepage. Then click the month and year of the meeting you are looking for. You will be presented with a list of meetings for that month. Click on the meeting you wish to watch and then click on the View Select Program button. The media player features a play pause button, a scrub bar, volume bar, and a full screen mode. You can also skip ahead by clicking on the indexed agenda items below the video. ONTV hopes to continue to make not only the meetings, but all of our programming accessible online through our website and our YouTube channel. For more information, visit OrientOnTV.org or call us at 248-693-3377. ONTV, bringing your government to you.
Welcome back to Between Taorminas, where we have Coach Greg Kampe joining us today. Honored to have the coach here, and honored to talk a little baseball. So let's get into it. Sammy, you look like you got to say something.
Yeah.
Go ahead, say something.
I still don't trust the Tigers bullpen.
Okay, let me say something real quick. When they're winning 10-1, 11-1, 6-2 like last night, kind of takes care of the bullpen problem, huh?
Yeah, but tonight the Tigers get to see King Felix on the mound.
That's true.
That's going to be very interesting, especially
Right.
with last year that King Felix threw a perfect game.
Yes.
But I know the Tigers are throwing Max Scherzer out, who is, by the way, on my fantasy baseball team. by
So
the
your
way.
fingers are crossed?
My fingers are really crossed tonight.
Hey
Yeah,
guys,
well-
I got a question to ask.
Sure.
And I know, Coach, you've helped me through this a little bit. Championships are not won in April and May. They're won in October. Have we seen the Tigers peak
No,
at this time,
I sure hope not.
Coach?
Peak.
Yeah, have they peaked?
If they lose tonight, are you even going to remember that a week from now?
Probably not.
No, I mean it's a long marathon. It's 162 games, and the one thing the Tigers
Listen
are going
up.
to do, the reason that they're going to be there at the end is because they have probably the most powerful batting order that has the American League seen in many years. And there's been some good ones, but show me where there's a weakness in
Oh,
there.
wait, okay.
Show me where there's a
okay.
weakness, Sam.
Let's look at last year here with the Tigers. Everybody talked how good the Tigers were going to be, and then they went into a mediocre slump. Of course, that's when
Against the Giants.
Sammy, did they win the division?
Yeah.
Then what? Who matters? What matters that they
They
won the
had
division?
issues with Chicago.
But did they beat Chicago in September when it counted? They
Yeah.
beat them like a dog.
They did.
They did, all right? Here's what the Tigers have. They have Prince Fielder in a situation where he could be the MVP, even though Cabrera is going to do all what he always does. Because who's hitting in front of Prince Fielder?
Victor, Cat.
Cabrera is, right?
Yeah,
and then
Cat,
who's
yeah.
hitting behind him?
Victor Martinez.
So what's he going to see?
yeah, but I'm
He's
not.
going to see fastballs.
Okay.
And he can hit a fastball as well as anybody.
Okay.
That lineup is, I mean, they're going to be nights they're going to score 9, 10 runs in innings.
Okay, then explain to me your concern with the bullpen, because the bullpen is the biggest issue here. Because you've seen the Tigers the last couple. I know there's one game, Minnesota, they blew a 2-run lead, and then they had one game they blew a 1-run lead. I mean, like the bullpen it scares me here.
If you win 100 games, how many do you lose? 62, right?
Yeah.
162. You're going to lose 62 games.
Right.
When you lose 62 games, you're going to lose them every way they can be lost. They're going to get shut out. They're going to have nights they can't score. They're going to have nights that Verlander gets lit up. They're going to have nights their bullpen gets lit up. The reason that you worry about the bullpen is because everything else you look at is strong. Defensively, they're okay.
They
But
never won the AL in fielding percentage.
yeah, but through the course of the year, you know that, I mean, Cabrera's not going to get to many. The shortstop situation isn't the greatest defensively. But what you have is a perceived weakness in the bullpen because we don't have a closer, right?
Well, I mean, like you got to look at it here. I don't think Villarreal's that good. I don't think.
Is this the same bullpen that won it last year that got us to the World Series?
For the most part, yes.
Okay, well, if it was good enough to do that last year, why is it all of a sudden such a bad?
If you look at the things last year, there's some questionable players that I thought. I thought Villarreal was a question. I thought that, I look at this Tiger team. I mean, like, if you look at it, I question why Tuiasosopo's up. I question why, I thought Quentin Berry had a better chance than Tuiasosopo. I think that
Quinn Berry's left.
He did leave?
No, he's a left-handed batter.
Oh, yeah.
Neither a righty.
And then you look at what the Tigers have in the bullpen, their closing situation. And I heard they brought Papa Grande back. Papa Grande is going to give you literally give you like a heart attack every time he's on the mound.
Well, I've been following the Tigers for 55 years, probably. All right, and he's probably my least favorite player of anyone. Okay,
He's worse than Todd Jones.
No, well, Todd Jones got things done, but Papa's the same as Todd. That roller coaster. But the thing is in the last 2 years, he's had as many saves. If you were to rank all the closers, he's right up there at the top. I mean, being a closer is kind of like, you're on a roll. I mean, Fernando Rodney, look what he did last year. And would you ever have thought when he was with us that he would do that?
No.
But you get on a roll and you get confidence and you get going. And the year before, Papa was perfect in his save situations. So that could happen. Could happen to Phil Koch. He could get on a roll.
Oh, my
I
goodness.
just
What
don't.
about Benoit?
Benoit's been really good. When Benoit was Soriano's setup man at Tampa, he was like considered the best setup man in the game that year. Why can't he do that again? We don't have a Kimball, but if we did, you'd probably find something wrong with him.
If you take Benoit out of a setup role, then you put him at closer. Who's
about
your
Albuquerque?
inning setup guy?
Who said he was going to? They're not going to put him at closer. They're going to leave him in the setup role. They're going to close by committee until Papa shows he can do it or he can't do it. And then if he can't, you know what they're going to do?
What?
They're going to make a trade in July for a closer.
What happened
And
in
I'll tell you-
2011? Doug Fister, trade deadline. Last year, Sanchez Infante, trade deadline.
Here's the name to remember. I'm calling it right here. I'm between the boys, all right? Remember the name Jonathan Broxton. I remember that name.
Okay.
Because come July.
We'll put it down. We'll write it down.
July.
Write it down. We'll write it down. If Jonathan Broxton comes to Detroit, I will buy you dinner. I will buy you a dinner.
Okay. Well, he still owes me. He still owes me lunch from Clarkston, for just squeaking by Lake Orion a couple times.
Let's shake on this. Let's shake. Done.
Hey, Sammy, just remember that name. They're paying him a lot of money in Cincinnati because they thought he was going to be the closer, Now Chapman doesn't want to start in his closing. You don't pay a setup man what they're paying Broxton. They're going to get rid of him at the trade deadline.
You are aware, Sammy, that if you go against Coach Kampe in anything, he never loses. It's
Tell him,
that
man.
simple.
Doesn't that make sense, though? They're not going to pay him that kind of money to be a setup man in Cincinnati.
Okay.
So Detroit will give up the farm if they think they have a chance.
Give up the
Can I butt in a little bit, guys? I think the Tigers, one of the big things that's important for them is to keep on winning series. They won the Athletic series. They have a chance to win the Seattle series.
Athletics were 9-3. And Detroit went in there and beat them in
their pitching
Oakland.
Spanked them.
Pitching staff was excellent until the Tigers rocked, especially Prince.
Yep.
You have an unbelievable hitting lineup. And then let me ask you a question. Name a better starting pitching staff than the Tigers. The best pitcher in baseball is Justin Verlander.
Yeah.
He anchors it.
Yes.
Then you've got
Scherzer.
Scherzer on your fantasy team, so you must have liked him. All right. And
Then
then you've got
Fister,
if he stays healthy,
Then you got Anibal Sanchez.
who's the old guy who is looking pretty good, isn't he?
And then you have Rick Porcello.
Well, or
He's
Drew
young.
Smiley.
Or Drew Smiley.
One of those.
Fifth
See,
spot.
The other one of those guys will be pitching at Cincinnati, and Jonathan Broxton will be a Tiger. Porcello for Broxton, Smiley for Broxton. Come July, you see.
That's an interesting.
So, are you going to be able to handle lunch with Ant, then turn around and go to dinner with Sam? You're going to have to spread this out.
It's going to have
months.
to be over months. You've been there, you know.
All right, we come back. We got the third segment. Going to talk about some things that I don't remember. Stay tuned.
Hey, this is Mickey York from Fox Sports Detroit. When I want to get the inside scoop on local sports, I watch Between Taorminas or Fox Sports Detroit.
We own a Habitat home.
I love working on my Habitat home.
Soy dueño de una casa de Habitat.
My neighbor is a Habitat homeowner.
Being a Habitat homeowner has changed our lives.
My mortgage payment for Habitat is less than what I pay for rent.
Habitat for Humanity of Oakland County currently has homes available with mortgage payments lower than most rent payments. If you or someone you know needs decent and affordable housing, call 248-338-1843 or visit our website at habitatoakland.org.
Welcome back to Between Taorminas here on Orion Neighborhood Television. And third segment, a little bit of a hodgepodge. I'm not introducing this next topic.
Go
ahead.
News. The greatest game of all golf, the Masters. Yes.
How'd Lefty do?
I didn't do too
I
good.
didn't think so. Glad I took the field on that one.
What'd you think of the Masters?
Yes, the music's back. I thought it was a good, interesting tournament. Gotta give props, you know.
What do you think about Tiger Woods' penalty?
I thought he deserved it. Basically, it just proves that there's no superstar is above the game, a legendary game of golf.
Coach, what'd you think of that penalty?
It is what it is. He took an illegal drop. He was told it was legal. He took the drop. Turned out to be illegal. The history of the game shows that that's what should happen, then it happened.
And it did happen.
And you know if it's at the Masters, which, by the way, I was at the Masters this year. It was pretty nice. Unbelievable. If there's one place people need to go in their lives, you need to go to Augusta one time.
My dad went to there one time as well, and he said that it was the best time of his life.
It's like Emerald City or the Wizard of Oz. I mean, it's almost like it shouldn't exist. It's just soothing.
Very soothing. All right.
Sounds like nap time.
All right.
Well, first, before we start talking about Grinky and I'm quitting, let's give a prayer to the people affected by the tragedy at the Boston Marathon. That was, we give prayers and shout outs to the family, and your hearts and are in our prayers for the Boston Marathon.
Yep.
Okay, let's go to the kit and caboodle. Ready?
Let's get to the kit and caboodle. All right.
The fight.
Am I on this camera?
Yeah. You call them out.
Yeah. All right. Over here, Rob.
They do call out.
So last week there was an incident between the Dodgers and the Padres that resulted in a fight and a man with a broken collarbone, very expensive collarbone, by the way. Carlos Quentin charge the mound. There he is, the most despicable human in the MLB. 2-1 game. I don't know what inning it was. Full count. You're not going to get hit. You're not going to be purposely hit with a pitch. If you know baseball, which you should because you play in the majors, you would know that. But you're Carlos Quentin. You have been, I believe, hit by his percentage of at-bats.
8.
Very
at
high.
least. Very high.
Of, at-bats, being hit by pitch, whatever. It's like the highest in the history of the game because he 2 inches away from the plate if he's not standing on the plate. So, Carlos, I hated you when you were a White Sox. I'm really glad you're not patrolling right field anymore there. I think you should be out as long as Greinke's out. And I see no reason why you charge him out and break a man's collarbone.
You want to know whose fault it was?
Yeah, whose fault?
It was Zach Greinke's
Tell
fault.
me why. Look in that camera.
Zach Greinke, why?
Cover your ears.
Why would you talk? Why would you talk? Basically giving a chirpy shot. You were the one that forced Carlos Quentin to come charge the mound. You're still not a good pitcher from your days in Kansas City, your days in Milwaukee, and now from your days in Los Angeles. I don't even know how you got paid that much money in the first place.
Dodgers are nuts.
I mean, if you look at it here, you've lost, I don't know how many games you lost in double figures when you were in Kansas City. Why did they hype you up in the first place? I mean, I remember one game when they played the Tigers. Greinke, you gave up, I believe it was 10 earned runs in one game. Are you kidding me? You are an overrated pitcher, Greinke. And Carlos Quentin had a right to charge the mound and deserved to break your collarbone.
Wow.
He deserved it.
Wow.
Zach Greinke, you deserve to be on the shelf for what you did. And
You're
spoiled. Enjoy the rest of your money while you try to heal that collarbone up.
I agree he's overrated and overpaid, but didn't he win the Cy Young when he was with Kansas City? Didn't he? I think he did, didn't he?
I think so.
He had an unbelievable year.
Yeah.
Where he started off about 11-0.
Yeah.
With like a .4 ERA.
Yeah, and I think the game that he gave up the 10 earned runs to the Tigers, he had shut them out like 6 times in a row before that. But that's all right, Sam. Show a little emotion and let the kid know that you don't really like him. So,
Oh yeah.
You never really said why you didn't like him.
Yeah.
I just can't stand the guy. I just can't stand Greinke.
You like Carlos Quentin?
I like Carlos Quentin. Even when he was with the Sox.
What would you do if we traded Drew Smiley for injured Zach Greinke?
I would be devastated. Just devastated.
You wouldn't put him on your fantasy team?
Nope, not even close. Not even close.
All right, guys.
I'd take Greinke.
We got.
I'd take him as our 5th starter.
Yeah,
No.
sure.
No.
All right, guys. We gotta end it. Thanks, Coach Kampe, for coming on.
My pleasure.
It was awesome having you. Feel free to come back on anytime you feel like.
Maybe I'll be back next week.
That'd be fun.
good.
That'd be awesome. All right, guys. From Between Taorminas, have a great night. God bless you. God bless the hearts of Boston. God bless Lake Orion, and good night.
Peace.